This is Hammerhead 2024, being filmed at the Newark Showground in Nottinghamshire. Having put up part 1, we come inevitably to part 2. That's my personal Warhammer from my 15th century collection, and now we move on to the show itself. This is the Hammerhead information desk with prizes awaiting to be distributed at the end of the event. And over the back there, very, very busy bring and buy. So it's bring and buy at Hammerhead Wargame Show. Right, this is TAD Games and the Forest Outlaws doing a North American game set in 1754. Got to say, very, very nice buildings. Very detailed ship model. Decent harbour. Sea walls. Over there, a general townscape. Behind it, a very rocky hill with some access up and down. So this is George Washington, sometime at the start of the 7 Years' War. This is Blitz Creek Miniatures, another invitation game, and they're playing Mighty Empires. A lot of serious chariot and pike action going on here. Or in that case, chariot versus pike. My money's on the pike. Just been reliably informed it's Assyrians versus Seleucids. Another big chariot. Assyrian infantry versus what looks like Seleucid pike. Here, another Assyrian chariot versus more Seleucid pike. Don't fancy the chances of the chariot much. Now the Heffalump, that's a different matter. Seleucid elephant over there. And unless my eyes deceive me, dromedary, mounted camels. Now they're heading for the Seleucid chariots. That's going to be an interesting encounter because traditionally horses don't like camels. When they were making the film Cartoon with Charlton Heston in it, the devil's own job getting the horses to jump over even cardboard camels. They got rid of the real ones and brought in papier-mâché and cardboard camels. The horses still wouldn't jump over them. Right, this is the Reveille Club. Right in front of me is, would you believe it, Oddball's Sherman, facing off against a very strange looking tiger. And the reason is these are Toon Krieg scale vehicles. The soldiers, the vehicles, etc., are all done in the rather cartoonish fashion and then 3D printed. Give another idea over here. That Toon Krieg Panther, for example, is suspiciously short. And there's an Ostwind, a couple of Cromwells. Let's see if I can find some infantry to zero in on. Here we go. See how cartoonish the characters look. short proportions. Another close up here. We've got an M7 Priest, M8 Greyhound, what looks like an M10 half track, M20 Scout Car, M3 Stuart, landing craft, and a variety of British vehicles, 6-pounder. I'm going to switch over to the Germans on that side. So these are all Toon-Krieg figures. Fighting over this representation of a French village. Of course, the real village was actually in Yugoslavia. They filmed it out there. If you go to Yugoslavia today and you can find the village, the locals are very proud of the fact that Kelly's Heroes actually filmed there. Right, this is Rubicon Models. It's another participation invitation game. Oscar Mike Vietnam. Very formal promenade here, very French colonial. I'm half tempted to think this might be set in the Tet Offensive. The Kong are wading across the river over there, and you've got defending forces over this side. This is Oscar Mike Vietnam, staged by Rubicon Models. Right, another view of Oscar Mike Vietnam. I am informed that is meant to be the riverfront at Hawaii, but of course the Perfume River here is much wider and much deeper in real life. So they're using that part for a scratch scenario. American camp on this side, and there is a huge stock, literally a huge stock of petrol in there, which the Americans are trying to stop the Viet Cong from getting a hold of. And the Kong are just wading the river over there. In real life, you couldn't wade the river, and in fact, the Americans had a great deal of difficulty getting their tanks across. Anyway, Oscar Mike Vietnam, a Hawaii-style river. Right, North Oxfordshire War Games, doing another invitation game, the Chicago Way. And this is clearly set in the 1920s. Nice to see a few favourite models creeping in over there, including the famous Airfix crane, of course now manufactured by a company called Daypol. All the buildings appear to lift off roofs, lift off stories, so you can actually run right the way through the building, shooting, stabbing, or whatever it is you feel that you want to do in 1920s America. So this is the North Oxfordshire War Games, inviting you to play the Chicago Way. I'll just change angle and get another shot. Looking in through the roof, they appear to set up their own brewery or still. Outside, a bit of a shootout taking place with the feds. Over there, more activity on the dockside. Finally, that just gives you an idea of the amount of detail there is in each level of each room. Very interesting game. Right, the Hornsey Contemptibles initially had me confused. What they've got here is effectively two battles. The hedgerow, that side, going off in that direction, that's a Wars of the Roses battle, being done as a fairly simple encounter. On this one, this is more Italian Wars. They're using Fire and Fury rules, but with modifiers. So this is the more advanced game. That is the simpler beginner's level game over there. Wars of the Roses, 28mm, and it's Fire and Fury with modifiers. Okay. I think I can see a few Wars of the Roses standards creeping into the Italian wars, but I think we're forgiven for that one. Nice game, interesting idea. Divided down the middle, two battles fought side by side. Right, this is the Cogs team, and they're doing Burrows and Badgers, which is clearly nothing to do with Dungeons and Dragons at all, but merely inspired by other garden creatures. Various figures waiting to come on for Burrows and Badgers. Change position, get another angle. Right, character cards there, and then there's the main table. Nice, very nice. Right, last one on this run because my battery's going down. This is John Lavender. He's producing an invitation Zulu. He's a Pila 716, come to arrest the Zulus. The Zulus are swarming in through the various sections of the settlement. The hospital's already on fire, as we can see. And they're heading for the biscuit boxes barrier. And over there is the redoubt, which, although it features in the film, was never actually used during the course of the battle. It would have been a final fallback position. Carefully modelled is the step in the landscape, which allowed the Zulus to take cover within 50 to 60 metres of the main defences. One interesting point is that I live in the village where the Reverend from here, who took part in the battle, was born, and he should have received the 12th of EC, and unfortunately, because he was a civilian, he wasn't eligible. So what the army did instead was they gave him a commission at the time when commissions had to be purchased. So I think it's Reverend Smith, Ammunition Smith, and he came from my village in Norfolk. A little close up on the redoubt there, and if the film had gone true to type, Michael Caine's character would have been stone deaf. He'd actually been left behind at Rorke's Drift because they feared he couldn't hear the commands. So had he not been deaf, he'd have been killed at Ishlandvana. Bit of a lucky escape for him there. Right, resuming after a break, and this is the Cogs invitation to play. It's the Bounty Hunters, and believe it or not, this game extends all the way up there. So this end is maritime. This end is maritime. I've just been told there's a rather neat smoke effect buried in there. Either that or someone's just dropped a cigarette. And then extending over this way, we then have effectively a medieval town leading to the dock here. That then proceeds into a countryside and then finally into a dungeon. It's a lot of table. So this is the Cogs game. I'm just going to move up a bit. Following on from the harbour, this is the medieval town, multi-levelled. nice big chunky gatehouse over there. Various half-timbered buildings. Leading into a landscape here. We've got a walled-off cemetery over there. Other Wilden-type half-timbered houses. And then it appears the dungeon over there starts here. So you go into that tunnel, and the whole thing is one continuous game. Chance of you getting from one end to the other in the afternoon is probably rare, but depending on where you want to plug in, interesting encounter. Right, this is also Cogs, and this is Scaro, the home planet of the Daleks. Whole variety of Daleks, other figures there. And you've got this wonderful 60s style super silver planet, which presumably is the home of the Daleks. Does look very much like a 1960s BBC special effect. Lovely one. Quite a few games already, taking a bit of a rest. Don't blame you. Right, this is the Wire Forest Gamers, and they are doing Tewkesbury. So presume that's Tewkesbury Abbey over there in the background where the row's going. You've got the Lancastrian forces bottled up against it. So I'm speaking into the microphone. And the oncoming forces of the Yorkist boys down here. Yeah. I've visited several battlefields. Unfortunately, this one's not a great visit. There's an industrial estate and houses built over a large part of it. Right, this is the Glory Boys, and they're presenting Psycho Glory. I think I've seen this terrain before, being done as a zombie type game. I'm sure I've seen that scrappy. Anyway, on this occasion it's trying to get away from deranged killers who've escaped from the local prison. No figures out at the moment, so I think they're on a lunch break. Oh yeah, the figures are stored down there. And the idea is that the survivors have got to get to the 4 cars and escape. Bad news is no one knows where the car keys are. So it's hunt the car keys, get to the car and escape the area and get away from deranged killers. There's the scrap heap. I do like these dumpsters and other bits and pieces. Someone's put a lot of trouble into doing a shit job, as it were. Well, those are very nice. Right, this is Three Shires Gaming, and they're doing the War of the Three Kingdoms, which I'm told is in Ireland, yes? Right, so you got Derryish over there. And if you have someone's bum over there, it'd be derriere, would it? Yeah. Okay, just checking. I do like the gatehouse. And then you've got, extending away there, you've got various armies arriving. And right out in the distance over there, we even have a fleet. So what we've got here, French, Scots, Irish, English.
French, Scots, Irish, again, English and Dutch, basically.
Oh, and Dutch, right. Got everyone involved.
Yeah, because you've got William, Duke of Orange, who's brought his Dutch army.
So, right.
This is the Glorious Revolution.
Yeah, so Battle of the Boyne, all that.
Yeah, well, this is just before the Boyne, basically.
Okay, you've got Scots down there. There's the gatehouse. It's got earthworks in front, and I've just been informed that the figures are 10mm scale. At my age, my eyes start going on. Keep calling them 6mm. Yeah. So War of the Three Kingdoms. Right, this one is big on strategy. invitation game, and it's called A Whiff of Grape. I don't think they're talking about the fruit. Looks like 54mm. Peninsular War? Roughly, ish. Peninsular War-ish. Could also be Mexico. That's big on strategy. Invitation game, A Whiff of Grape. This one's a little bit different. 1880s, Wild West. Someone's let off too much dynamite or nitroglycerin, and creatures through time have escaped. And I'm seeing pteranodons. There is a blasted great mammoth over there. Another pteranodon over there. T-Rex. Spinosaurus. Oh, I do know my dinosaurs. Spinosaurus. One of the predatory birds from the post-dinosaur period. Stegosaur over there. Plus the usual Wild West town, steam trains, Allosaurus and steam trains. Yeah. I mean, you could almost argue this is a Westworld scenario, and they managed to somehow tie up Westworld with the Lost World. Right, I've just had a long chat with the organiser. I really like this one. This is The Bunker presents What, a Cowboy? But basically it's dinosaurs loose in 1881 North America. Now their suggestion was that blasting in a nearby mine had blown a hole in the space-time continuum, which is one way the dinosaurs might get loose here. However, I'm a big fan of Westworld, the TV series, which, as we know, most of the cowboys are robots, and we know that Westworld had certain worlds, Westworld, Samurai World, Raj World, etc. What happened if they also had the Lost World, Conan Doyle's Lost World, next door, and somehow the creatures from Lost World got loose in Westworld? The result would be the same. Like the train. Definitely like the train. Yeah. And somebody put RAF rondels. Somebody put RAF rondels on one of the pteranodons. Cheeky, but I like it. It wouldn't be a war game show without the very British Civil War Forum putting on their speculative alternative history, Civil War in Britain 1938 to 1940. Extemporised armour, extemporised weapons, stuff left over from World War I, a few modern weapons creeping in. Regiments of Mosley's black shirts, units of the Salvation Army actually fighting, political groups, anarchist groups, you name it. It's basically the Spanish Civil War translated into a very British environment, with the prevalence of figures for Dad's Army and the availability of 56mm large-scale British buildings. I've seen a couple of these and they're always interesting. Sort of the sort of thing that Britain escaped when unfortunately Spain didn't. So this is the very British Civil War Forum. Fighting in Britain 1938, 37-38. In the manner of the Spanish Civil War. Well, that's the end of part 2 and the end of my Hammerhead 2024 presentation. Again, my apologies to tables I did not get to. I think I covered about 2/3 of you. But my health's not been brilliant recently and there are limitations. So at one stage, not only the battery was running down, but I was running down as well. So it's Hammerhead 2024, filmed at the Newark Showground, and I hope you enjoyed it. My next report should probably be Salute 2024. This has been a Warspite production. If you've enjoyed this, please leave a thumbs up. If you've really enjoyed it, please feel free to subscribe. I look forward to seeing you next time. This is Warspite out, and have a very good day.